What time? I might holler at you in the morning. Well, on March, Tuesday morning.
That should have been
Get in here.
We're going back to the drawing board for May. See what he said.
If he didn't get it in the rain, the base should have been.
They asked me these questions already, didn't say,
Or refer to my.
yeah, this is what you do, lawyer. Lawyer. One of my buddies, he says the best thing to do, right? How many, I say lawyer.
No.
Burke County Board of Education meeting to order. Board members have a copy of the agenda. Any changes? If none, I take that motion that we approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? It is approved. First on the agenda is the board discussion.
Yeah, a couple things I was going to share with you. We talked this past week at our district leadership meeting about attendance and enrollment. And so I shared some stuff with you guys on enrollment. We'll start there. Looking at, as we're getting into budget season and how we, kind of earn our dollars from the state, a big part of it is enrollment. So if you look over here on the left side, it's October 22 through October 24. This is the October FTE cycle. So it says 2023, but it's really a 23 school year, which started in October of 22, up through this fall. And so you can compare a year to year. Like you can look 3 years ago and see that we had 495 kindergartners. This year we only had 427. And you can also look at it, like scale it. And when you scale it, we had 495 kindergartners. The next year we had 498 first graders. The next year we had 491 second graders. So like what we get tends to be holding. We talk about birth rates dropping and those kind of things. You see that when you see the enrollment in kindergarten. You see it pretty much holding, and then it's interesting when you get down to high school. So if I start right here, my freshman from that year, I went from 590 down to 559 as 10th graders, down to 505 as 11th graders, when you track it. My 10th graders, 603, 552, 533. My 11th graders, I went from 534 to 501 seniors that year. And you even see it with your freshmen, going to sophomore, you lost 22. And we've been talking about it from throughout the year a little bit when it comes to enrollment, and there are just so many more options and choices for kids to do. And it is competition in a lot of ways. And so I told, when we were in Washington last week, or 2 weeks ago, whatever, we were talking about enrollment, and we were talking about, private, public, and all those kind of things, and school choice. And I told them, I said, I'm a little different, whereas in a public space, usually public school people do not like hearing about school choice. School choice doesn't bother me. We have to make our schools be their choice. That's ultimately what we have to do. We've got to do some things within our schools to where they want to be in school, not sitting at home learning on a laptop. And we have resources and we have options for them that they can't get at some other places. And so we've got to be able to highlight those. But one thing we can't do, we can't start school at 10 o'clock. I can't give you 2 hours on a computer and that's all you have to do each day. There are some things that we can't control. So it's interesting to see the high school, kind of that high middle where they have a little more choice as it goes. Now we'll see birth rates, maybe, this past year was just an anomaly. Spring Place and Chatsworth, they were down typical kindergarten enrollment this year. We talked about that a little bit, so it could pop back up. We'll see how kindergarten enrollment goes, because we do seem to be holding them. When you go across this way, pretty much everywhere you're very similar until you get to the high school. And so,
When they leave, do they have to say where they're going?
yes.
Okay, so where are they going?
Yeah, a lot of them are going, we've lost a lot to Mountain Ed because of the night school option. A lot of them, we have a lot of students who are supporting their families. I mean, that's just the truth. And so it's sometimes they need
They
to,
quit to work.
yeah, they've gone to work, and so Mountain Ed gives that flexibility if they have to work during the day, or even at night. I used to have seniors that would work second, third shift. And so them trying to be at school by 7:30 was difficult. So we do lose quite a few to night school. Is what I call it, but Mountain Ed, we'll lose them there. Of course, we've lost them, your typical, they say they're going homeschool, they'll tell us that. Now, we don't track the homeschool, there's no way of us to know, because the state says that really all you need is a high school diploma to homeschool your kids. So for us to kind of keep up with that, it's impossible, but most of them, once they get their junior, senior year, different situations, a lot of them, I'd say the majority are going to a night school program.
Or just, it's I can be on my laptop and I don't have to get up and be at school at 7:30.
They can kind of work it on their own hours, a lot of them, you know. We still, the dual enrollments, we keep the tech, who chooses to do a tech prep diploma, like through GNTC, we keep those on our enrollment, but it's those that need that flexibility, unfortunately, you know, where they don't want to do the standard 7:30 to 3. So we lose them.
And you can see from a school perspective, the yellows are our north end schools. Over on the right, you can see what it was in October of '22, and you can see what it was October of this year. So you can see those drops. We see that particularly in the north end, and that's a function of housing. You know, it's not necessarily that we're losing them. They may just be moving to the south end, where you see Spring Place there in the blue went from 601 to
Or
668.
they might just be moving like even Whitfield. We are
Yeah.
a very transient school system, is what I say, we do. So some of them we might just be losing to different districts with, as families are moving too, so. But I have, like, I can pull all of that. I can pull what they're saying, where they're going.
And you can see the high schools there as well, and Bagley is another one, you're going from 527 to 457. Now, some of this was gonna shift a little bit next year, because with sixth grade going up, so you're gonna see the middle schools go up, you're gonna see the elementary go down. So like, you have to look at it, here it breaks it down, pre-K through 5, 6 through 8, so you get a better sense of it that way. But just know that when we look at this next year, it will look differently because of the organizational change.
But we're still getting the same amount of money per student, no matter.
We worked this year, and we're actually getting more per student.
Yeah, so you're getting more.
The problem is, we just got less students.
Well, I mean, like, regardless if they're kindergarten
Oh,
or elementary or wherever.
It's, yes, the
Yes.
organizational change doesn't make a difference what
Right.
building they are. Each student earns a certain amount of money based on where they are.
The gifted students earn more money. And we talked about growing the gifted program when Ms. Thornberry was here.
Mhm.
So have we done that?
We have, there's been some improvements there. Oh, this is our allotment sheet that we get from the state. Over on the left are all of the program, I know it's very small, are all the program codes. So there's kindergarten and there's kindergarten EIP. There's first through third and there's first through third EIP, and you go down the list. The high school one, if you see it right there, high school gen ed, that is your base rate. And if you look up there in the top right, it tells you the base rate is $31.97.67 per student. All of these others are some multiplier of that base rate. 1.278, 1.945, whatever. And so that's how you determine, that's how they spit out this QBE number down here at the bottom, where they say, okay, you're gonna earn, you know, X amount of dollars for your school from your enrollment. And then they take out their 5 meals they take out at the state, and then you're left with what you get down here. Then they add in some other things as well. So that's how we determine it. So that enrollment number, like it is 6688 is what it shows, or 6668, excuse me, is what it was this past year. I can already tell you, when we get our allotment sheet this week, it's gonna be 6502. Because we've got some stuff, we can calculate that up. So we're gonna lose 66 kids off of this sheet. Now, this year, we are earning more per kid because we increased some of these multipliers. While it's almost like a balance. Here's all of your kindergarten kids. The more you get in that second line, the higher the dollars you're gonna get. And so you may have the same amount of kid, but if you shift them to the other line, or if they earn it, you get more dollars for them.
Okay, they have to actually qualify for EIP?
Qualify and be served.
Okay. Now, I'm EIP, not.
Yeah, EIP, not special ed.
Okay,
Special ed is down here.
okay,
And they earn the same thing, they get multipliers based on how many we have. So there's 121 in this category and
okay. And
120.
you qualify at the beginning of the year,
Yes,
so
we do the work in the spring.
for next
For
year.
next year.
How do you do it with the kids that you don't have?
Those you have to catch, but like if I'm a third grader, I've got my spring scores that can be used to qualify me for EIP next
No, I'm
year.
talking about kindergarten.
Oh, those we do when they come in.
Okay, so, but basically, just about every kid would qualify for EIP when they come in at the beginning of the year.
It's a pretty stringent, a pretty strict rubric they give us. So we do our testing at the beginning of the year.
Right.
There are certain parameters that we can catch on that.
So you're saying that this year, only 71,
This was last year,
okay, so last year, only 71 qualified for EIP?
yes. And so this year it's more. There's more on the EIP side, there's less on the other side. It's not just qualifying, it's also how many segments you serve them. So we did some things this year with what the state gives us, and we increased those, which is good. But the overall number continues, if it continues to drop, it's gonna hurt us. And so we've gotta figure out, because it also affects how many teachers you earn. So like last year,
Yeah.
the state's gonna pay for 442 teachers. The year before, or the state paid for 450 teachers, essentially. So as that number drops, you're earning less paid teachers. So anybody above that, we are covering with local dollars. And so when we talk about local money from, dealing with our tax digest and millage rates and all that stuff, that supplements what the state does to let us go above and beyond what we earn. Because I'll tell you, like, a lot of these aren't enough to support what we do. Now, granted, like, we earned 22.29 ESOL teachers. We don't have 22.29 ESOL teachers, so that helps us in other areas, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't mean you're gonna have 22 of this or 27.8 of this. You pile it all together and you try to figure out what you need to do, where they need to be based on the kids' needs. And so we've got to figure out the enrollment thing. And then the other part that I was
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this alternate education program,
Yes.
at the bottom,
Mhm.
wait, this is last year, right?
That was 24.
Okay, can you go
25.
back to this year?
Yes.
Okay, so alternate, okay, let me find it. Okay, okay, 74.
Yeah.
So we only earned 5 teachers for that.
Mhm.
So is that Pleasant Valley?
Yes.
And they're only saying we get 5 teachers?
Correct. We can't run Pleasant Valley with 5 teachers.
No.
So that's why I say, like, those numbers are false in the sense that we shift around within that.
Okay,
That's
so
total essentially.
can the remedial education program, or any of those students, can they qualify for the alternate education part? Can you add, can they count or no?
You can move teachers around anywhere you want to.
Okay,
It's just you earn 442.75, that's how many the state's gonna pay for.
okay.
Now, we could, if we had local dollars flowing in, extra above and beyond, you could hire all the EIP and, RAP teachers you wanted to.
Yeah.
But that's gonna come from the local dollar, not the
Got it.
state dollar. if that makes sense. You can put teachers wherever you want, but we have to be strategic in how we meet the need with it.
Are there any opportunities, I know you talked about looking at some funds in other ways. Is there any creative opportunities to look at what are there out there that we're not getting that we could possibly get?
Not to do hire teachers.
Well, no, I'm just talking about per student.
Oh, no.
Are there other things, is there something that we're not looking for or applying, or is that something that the state automatically does?
No, like what we did this year and how we shifted some scheduling things really helped. It helped offset the amount of kids we've lost, and we'll continue doing that, and that will continue to help. But we're doing about what we can with that. There's not other monies out there for that. Federal supplements, and we pay for some folks with federal money, but if federal money drops, which it is likely to drop this year, then some of those may have to shift back over into our general fund. So like, those are the things, and we won't have to probably September because federal is always behind. So those are the things, as we get into budget discussions, those are the things we're kind of waiting. We're waiting on our updated sheet that looks like this for next year. We're hoping to get that in the next week or two. But all that's based off enrollment.
Okay, when it says 20 days additional instruction, what is that?
Oh, is that like
It's right at the bottom.
extended year stuff or something like that? That's things they throw, I believe, that's something they throw in up there. But the main earnings are up here, and that's kind of what we look at. The other thing that I wanted to share and we looked at this week was attendance. This is a nice little dashboard over on the Godot site they have. And this tracks students who are considered chronically absent. So if you're absent 10% or more of days. So here, if you're absent 16 days or more in the school year. So if you look right here, the state of Georgia, 21.3% of kids are absent 10% or more days. We're at 23.3. You can see where we've been. And you see also the demarcation kind of between COVID and non-COVID. But you also look back here, historically, we've been well above the state average with kids considered chronically absent. This doesn't care if you're sick, laying out, whatever, you're out. We care about notes and excuse notes, and that's fine and dandy, but if you're not there, you're not there, whether you're sick or not. And we all know we have seasons of sickness, and we have flu, and we have all those things that happen, and we miss days. 16 days, a lot of days to miss. So when you look at it this way, you can see it by grade level, and you can see it by subgroup when you go down through here. Check out down here our high school seniors.
Yeah.
36% of our seniors are out, 16 or more days.
Let me check out.
You know, and this, you can see
Much
it.
better.
I mean, it's, so we talk about test score data. We talk about why are we struggling in some areas.
See if you can print.
If a third of my kids aren't in school, or if you're missing 16 days, that's almost a month of school, and we're already short a month. When you think about the number of days we go to school. If you look over here at your subgroups, you see some things here where it breaks it out from race, ethnicity. We looked specifically at our Hispanic population, the difference between our Hispanic population and other populations. Look at our English learners down here. If they're an EL student, they're coming to school, you know, and wildly more than the rest of our students are. And you can see historically, it's been an issue here, even above the state levels. And so you get into cultural things and whatever, I don't know, it's a question I can't answer. One of the things we've been talking about looking ahead to next year is what can we do to get kids to be, I talked to a group of seniors up at North Murray the other day. I'm gonna go out to high schools and catch some more kids. I just happened to be up there. And it was interesting to hear from them. Boy, 7:30's early, you know, or why?
to get a job.
Yeah, exactly. Why am I taking this class? You know, I don't know. I don't need to know about that. I'm going to do this. And we were talking today at lunch. They seek something that's a lot more customizable to them, to their specific needs. Whereas when we were younger, we came to school because we had to go to school. The other thing is, I came to school to see my friends. Up in Old Tinga, I was on the Benton phone exchange, so it was long distance for me to talk to anybody. And my dad was not going to shell out $1 for me to talk to anybody. So if I wanted to see my friends, I had to be at school. Nowadays, I can stay at home and I can Snapchat, I can play video games with you, I can FaceTime with you. The social need to be at school isn't there. So we've got to find a way to get these kids plugged into something at school that makes them want to be here. Whether it's athletics or fine arts or a club or, you know, something in the CTAE things that we got to find a way to get them here. And then if you look, this last little page, this kind of shows students that are here 95% of the time, essentially, like that, less than 5%, they miss less than 8 days.
Less than 8.
That's the blue. Over here's the kids that have missed 16 or more, and then you've got your kids that kind of fall in between. And a lot of it is like haves and have-nots, like either I'm here or I'm not, you know, to some degree. It's interesting to kind of see how that falls.
Do they still get exempt from finals if they miss?
We added that back.
That was our motivation.
Yeah.
We didn't want to miss, we wasn't going to miss that day. We wasn't going to take that final, we was going to be at school.
We added that back in hopes that it would catch some of those students. And I'm sure some, you know, it's motivation. But then if I miss it,
Oh, yeah, after they blow it, they don't care.
Yeah.
That's it after that, don't you?
now you can also look and kind of compare. If you wanted to go county for county, you can look at it. When you look at Whitfield's, we were at 23.1, Whitfield's at 17.7. So there's a big difference there. You know, there's a 6% difference. We talked about demographics playing a part in that. If we looked at our population, we saw our Hispanic students had much better attendance than some of our others. It's the same thing for them, and they have a whole lot more Hispanic students.
But education is important to them.
It's
Yes.
something we've got to try to preach the value of for all of our kids there. And then you can look, another comparable is Gordon County. They're at 21.2, we were at 23 or something. Gordon was right at the state. I think this was Dalton Public, they're at 22.3. I can pull Gilmer real quick?
I just would be interested, because Gilmer County has truancy court, and their parents go to jail. The kids get on probation after they miss 10 days of school, and then when they don't start coming back after they go through in front of Judge Gallagher, then he will send the parents to jail for 7 days, and then he fines them, and then they go back to jail. And so
They're
I
worse than
would,
we are.
yeah, oh yeah, they have truancy court every Monday morning
But
in
they're worse.
Gilmer County.
They're worse
And
than
they're
we.
looking, yeah.
I'm sure
And I
we,
guess if the parents are in jail, they just don't go to school because the parents are sitting in jail.
we
But
wasn't
they
much
have
different kids
truancy court.
today as far as probably not wanting to go to school, but our parents, the parents are different
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, and he'll fine them, and they'll come in there, and they'll have $500 worth of fines, and, you know, he'll put them on, but put them in jail as parents, I mean, I don't know if it's, evidently it's not working.
Now, this is the state of Georgia. You know, you can kind of get a comparison. So this is on the, if you type in Georgia Insights attendance, you can find that. It's really interesting. So I thought I would share that with you since we've been talking about that as a group.
Is this us again?
No, this is the
That's
state
state.
of Georgia.
Oh, okay.
This is
okay.
back to Mark County.
I was just didn't know we had any American Indian and Alaskan Native.
Probably very few because it's an even number over here. But yeah, usually have to have so many for the county.
Listen, I just checked that.
But yeah, it's interesting to say the least. So just some things to ponder about. If you talk to folks out in the public and they're asking about different things, and we talk about test scores and, growth and these things, and we gotta get kids in the building.
So do you think the homeless, do you think they're not there until like they're identified? Because after they're identified, I mean, the bus goes and gets them and everything.
They still gotta be out there to get on the bus.
Well, that's true.
And we got kids we're pulling from Dalton and different places because their homeschool is here when they qualify for McKinney-Vento. So it's, like you look back at last year, our homeless kids had the same attendance rate that our seniors did. So go figure on that one. It has gotten better this year. So we're hoping to continue to trend in the right direction. But I want to talk to our high school kids and
There needs
maybe
to be
some of our
some
middle school kids.
creativity at that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I want to know from them, what can we do to affect it? Because if we can improve that by 5%, I think about what that would do to our culture in our buildings, what that could do to our scores, those kind of things.
Have you thought about a time change? The kid brought up 7:30 early, and it is for most kids, but is there a window there you can move it one way or another and still be in the?
You can always move it, you're just gonna put it on the end of the day, and do it that way. I mean, instead of starting at 7:30, you start at 8, but instead of getting out at 3, you get out at 3:30. Those
What
are,
does that make for the students?
I mean, then you get into parents, and stuff. Like, we couldn't open the doors earlier
At
than we do
6,
now.
yeah.
Like, we would have to shift that down too, because it's early now. So, because we talked about start time, we floated, peeking around and getting some community input about staggering start times. But then you get into what Dalton did. So it would make sense for your elementary to go first in the morning and your high school to go in later. But then in the afternoon, who's gonna watch the elementary kids when they get off the bus? So Dalton did their high school kids first, and their elementary came in later. So their high school kids could get off the bus first to be there for their siblings and things. So like, those are the kind of questions where, we may start kind of getting some community input with that, because there's some things, staggering buses allows us to do too. So there's things we can talk about maybe to help, but, yeah, it would be after you get into afternoon activities, if you start too late.
Maybe we can benchmark it on some other school systems that improve theirs or something.
Dr. Brock, I remember the paper you had, that had it, you missed one day a month, this is what it is, you did it. Did you give that like to your parents? Did it make any difference?
I mean,
It was eye-opening to me.
yeah, I mean, we had some good conversations about it, and we've shared it with lots of all of our parents got it, and when we have meetings and we talk about attendance, it's something that we share. With some, yes, with others, no.
Like everything else.
But also, I think that they're well informed,
Yeah.
and that, to me, that's, you're giving them the information.
So what can we do to get kids on a 50-50 day? I don't feel like going to school today, but I'm gonna get up and come on. There's a lot of factors that, we discussed some issues, that start anywhere from culture to socioeconomics to all that stuff. But socioeconomics and culture have always been a thing.
I'll be honest with you, one of the things, if a kid gets up, okay, say, me as a working parent, if a kid gets up and says, I don't feel good today, I've got a decision to make whether I'm gonna leave them out and take them to my mom's and not have to worry about leaving work early to go get them, because that's gonna happen probably more than not. That's the situation you get in most of the time when they start getting up saying they're sick, instead of pushing them to go to school. It's like, I can go ahead and take them now instead of leaving work early.
Well, COVID did part of it because we were so sure, hey, they're sick, don't come, they're sick, don't come.
Yes.
But it's kind of like sports, there's a difference between hurt and injured.
Yeah.
I played hurt a lot of times. If I'm injured, you know, I don't need to play.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I'm hurt, I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And like now, it's like, you know, and you get that. And I've had parents call me at school and say, I can't get so-and-so out of bed, can somebody come out here and help me? I mean, those are the things that like we have to adjust. It's a different world. And it's hard to think about it from my Generation X mindset.
I wonder if there's a difference between the numbers of parents who don't work and parents who do.
Yeah, that's what I
We
was.
discussed that.
Yeah,
And I would love to have that number and figure.
me too, and see what, which ones are staying out with work, yeah.
Yeah, I will just all sit home and sit on the couch
Yeah.
together.
And,
Not get up and not even get out of bed.
Yeah.
It happens, but that goes to the enrollment
Because it's
too.
not important. That's it.
It's
It's,
the value
education is
of it.
not important, and it is.
If I'm trying to learn English,
You're gonna be there.
I'm in school.
Yeah.
And so like, there's a value to it. So all these things, and I show these things together because they tie together. Our enrollment, where are our kids going, why are they not choosing to come here? You know, when they have those options, and then two, the day-to-day attendance. So these are the things we've been discussing and we're gonna look at next year, particularly when it comes to attendance. And we can talk about all the things we can't control, which is some of these things over here. But we gotta talk about what we can control. We've been talking, I told somebody the other day, I'm kinda tired of talking about demographics. I can't control that. We can control what we do in the building each day.
Yeah.
And so that's something we gotta work on. So I thought I would share that this evening before we get into, board policy. Y'all have any more questions about this stuff?
Well, I have one more. It helped with the elementary, back in the olden days. We had like attendance parties. Y'all still do attendance parties if you come all the time? Okay, so what if what do you do for middle school and high school to reward them for coming to school? Anything?
They have, if it's tied into
We do
PBI.
pay to plays, we do that, to where you can like play faculty volleyball, like
Okay.
volleyball against the faculty. There's 3 events throughout the year, and attendance is a piece of the eligibility to have good attendance.
I think the high school has some similar things as well. But there's some, we're gonna look at it, because we're gonna have to we gotta do better. We'll try to figure out some ways we can try to do better. Do something different.
Any further questions? All right, next on the agenda is quality of workforce.
And Mike's got a couple, this is the third reading, and we'll go ahead and vote now on the work session on these. If it's
There's
okay.
really nothing else to be said about it. We have them forward unless y'all got questions.
And we are gonna, I know Hunter had asked, we will relook at some of these as we get into next year. We just
Yeah.
wanted to tie a bow on this to make it correct this year.
If there's no question, I need a motion that we approve the IHA revision. Kelly. All in favor? It is approved. All right, the second one is the IHAB. Need a motion that we approve the revision.
I make one.
Second.
All in favor? Next on the list, executive session. I need a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor? We're in executive session. I need a motion that we come out of executive session. And,
Second.
Sheila? All in favor? It is approved, we're in open session. Anything else? Need a motion that we adjourn?
I move.
I'm done.
Second.
Hunter, all in favor? It is approved. All right. Hey, I need a motion that we go in, to approve the agenda.
So maybe.
Kelly,
Second.
all in favor? It is approved. If you will, please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father God, we just thank you for this opportunity to come before you. Just thank you for everybody that's here, the attendance we have. Help us to make good decisions in all that we do. Give us safe travels as we leave this place tonight, as well as we go back home with our families. Most important, keep the main thing, children in our heart and the decisions that we make. For us in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
All right, next on the agenda, board members, you have a copy of the minutes. Are there any changes? If none, I need a motion that we approve the minutes.
Make a motion.
Tony,
So, second.
Kelly, all in favor? Next on the agenda is recognitions.
All right, we got lots of folks here. Thank you all for coming tonight. Those that are being recognized. Glad to get to see you all here. We get to recognize several outstanding students, some outstanding staff members who exemplify, what we're trying to do here in Maury County Schools. And we're going to start with North Murray High School. And we've got some Skills USA winners. We're going to start with Kyle Shoemaker. He was a state champion with his sports hype video. So stand up there and wave. Mr. Stephen Hobbs been working with him, and Kyle was in our entrepreneurs class. We got a few of our entrepreneur kids in here the other day, so I know he's excited about that. Then we've got Miss Olivia Thomason, who earned a runner-up in Job Skills Demo. Where's Olivia at? That's Miss Tashana Higgins working with her, so congratulations. You guys want to say anything? Teacher, staff, y'all want to say anything?
Yeah. For sure, like I'm still brand new, so this is all new to me, but this is all about them and all about Kyle. Everybody knows him, everybody loves him. He came to me last year around Christmas and said, hey, I want to start learning to take photos. So I gave him a camera, he ran with it. At the end of the year, he's like, I want to up my photo game. I gave him some advice, and now everybody knows that he's out there and he's really killing it. It's a plug, so if anybody needs any photography.
He does good, he just took my son's pictures, so he'd be great.
He's self-motivated, driven, and he is incredible. So he's making me look good, so.
Yes, please.
Okay, so Olivia, she is a first-time Skills USA, so I was very proud of her. We collaborated together because, like Mr. Hobbs said, we're still new, so we're still learning. She's got a whole lot of drive. She's already getting ready for our next competition, so I'm very proud of her. She done fantastic.
Y'all come on up here, let me get your picture. Teachers and students, and if any admin would like to join. If you can get right up on the screen for me, we'll do a picture with the picture. You can go there.
Admin, can I give y'all one step up there with them, please?
Got your black and gold on, come on. Alright, everybody look right here. I'm not as good as Kyle, but
Look, 1, 2, 3. All right, looks great, thank you.
Congratulations.
Next up, continuing at North Murray, we've got some FCCLA state winners. So we're going to go through and talk about these. So first off, and I'm going to do my best, Berenice de Leon Mazariegos was first place in creative showpiece. So you stand up and wave and do Next we have Miss Karina Luna was first place in baking and pastry. Miss Karina. One of our young entrepreneurs over there. Next up, Fernanda Luna was first place in hospitality and tourism. Almost a perfect score. 91.3. You can tell she did hospitality. She had that way. Next up was Gail Brewster was second place in fashion construction. And our last three there, they're going to be competing in nationals coming up. And I know Chef Coffee, is Chef Coffee? There she is back there. So I know it's a wave to her to help over there. And I know great job for her and any of our other teachers that work with these students. If you're here tonight, that's it. There we go. So any of you guys want to share anything or say anything to the group when you got it, please? Hey, hold on, before you start, could you bring us something to eat?
Not always. Listen. No, I just wanted to say, every time I talk about my students doing really well, they're always like, oh, you must be a great teacher. And I'm always like, no, that's not it at all. Because truly, I have the best kids. These 4 ladies here are some of the kindest, smartest, resilient ladies I've been able to work with. They all go above and beyond what even my expectations are. Like Bernice made an entire spinning record player out of fruit. Like that's incredible. Well, Karina stays hours after school to practice for a 4-hour competition. Like who of you guys can cook for 4 hours in a kitchen and make what she does? Like it's crazy. Fernanda, we are standing in line on her senior trip going to Disney and she is memorizing her speech to present. Gail spent an entire, I don't even know how many hours at home sewing a dress for her to compete, and it's because of this dedication to what they do and what they love that is why you see the places on the screen. It has nothing to do with me and everything to them being amazing, and truly it's just an honor to be their teacher and their advisor, and I'm proud of them every day of my life. So.
Picture time, let's get it.
Alright, everybody look right here, ready, 1, 2, 3. Alright, thank you.
Congratulations.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Not to take anything away from you students, because I believe that you are all fabulous, but it is also due to Chef Coffee and Ms. Higgins and Mr. Hobbs that we have the success that we have. So I'm very proud of you all, and I'm happy to be your administrator.
Next up, moving over to Murray County, we have some Skills USA state champions to share as well. This is for chapter display. State championship team, we've got Zahir Trejo, Om Patel, and Antero Jarkin. If you guys want to stand up and wave to everybody. Teacher / sponsor Ben Oliver here. I don't know if you want to share anything about these guys. That display is mighty nice.
Yes, sure. And I hate that it's not in motion. It actually spins and lights up and does all kinds of crazy things. But so these guys, it was kind of a testament to them because they barely know me because I'm new here. So getting them to be involved and want to do something this massive is pretty cool. They really knocked that out of the park. Really, the goal of the project is to create something that promotes Skills USA to other people that don't know what Skills USA is, and also what that influence is on Maury County High School, or what we offer in Skills USA Maury County High School. So these guys are also representing the state of Georgia in the national competition in Skills USA in Atlanta in June. The competition is scored out of 1,020 points. They scored a 975 out of 1,020. The significance of that is the national championship score last year was a 960. So we have a definite shot of winning national championship. So to group these guys on, they're doing some really good things. We've destroyed the whole thing and we're rebuilding it from the bottom up. So it's going to be way better, believe me. So anyway, so root them on. Thanks.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me do one more. Got one else, please. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Now we got it. Thank you.
Next up at Maury County High School, we've got a literary state champion. Listen, my daughter did literary, so I know all about that and how tough that is. So for argumentative essay, I think my mother would have won that, but argumentative essay, Owen Lamb. So if you stand up there. Anybody here with you today, Owen?
I think so.
Yes, I just wanted to say real quick, Owen is a great student and he's very talented. He had a main role in Mamma Mia this weekend and did a phenomenal job. So we're just proud to have him at Maury County High School, and I look forward to future, other competitions and shows that he's in.
Good.
Glad this story had a happy ending in your show there.
All right, guys, here we go. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Looks good. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, next up at Maury High School, we have Kevin Henry, who earned an engineering and technology education program and is now industry certified. So tell us a little bit about that, Mr. Henry.
Well, first of all, it's about a 2-year process. They say it's a 1-year process, but really there's a lot of archive data that you have to have from the year prior. So it's 2 years of dedicated work, and I just get to take the credit for it because 90% of the work are my students, but you see the caliber of students that we have here in Maury County. So it's easy, well, it's not easy to achieve something like that, but you can see why we can achieve stuff like this. Very few schools actually get this, but you can see the caliber of students that we have. My students work day in, day out to prepare for this. They have to do interviews, they have to take tests, they have to do demonstrations, they're videotaped, they have to do live presentations in front of all these people that they've never met before, like other principals from other school systems, people from the DOE, everything. So it's a very stressful situation. But as you can see, this is actually our second time getting it. Every 5 years we have to renew, and what can I say? My students are awesome. We're from Maury County.
And I was going to say, kind of like Ms. Jones said, we're very proud of our CTE department and the teachers. And Mr. Henry, yes, it was a lot of work for students, but it was a lot of work for Mr. Henry. Like he said, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of communication with the DOE. We've had the DOE come in. They spent all day at North Maury interviewing and talking to students and looking at a lot of the things that the students have done. So it is a lot of work for the teacher as well. And what industry certification does is it's kind of that gold stamp, that shining star for a program. It's a program of excellence for the state. And so it benefits the students because then they're industry ready, they can put that on applications. So it is, he does it all for the students. And so it's not just him. You know, we do have a couple of industry certifications at Maury as well. But it's a lot of work. So we want to recognize also our teachers and our students, because we have a lot of dedicated CTAE faculty. And it is a lot of work at, teaching the students, but then of course, training them for what's in the future for next steps. So we're very proud of them.
Just to reiterate, Mr. Henry is super hard worker. He is there at all hours. It is not uncommon to get a phone call from him on Thanksgiving Day. But he has accomplished great things, and we're very proud of you, Mr. Henry, and your students.
Come let me take your picture.
Come on, Terry.
Come on, Tara. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Looks good.
All right, and then to kind of finish up tonight, our ed tech department, and I know was decided, and Miss Chrissy's going to be here to talk about this one. Miss Allison Harrison from Spring Place Elementary is our district library media specialist of the year.
That's my line.
Sorry, I set you up. Miss Maloney, why don't you talk to us about what's going on?
Yes, let me speak about what's going on today. Rewind that. I am Christy Blue, for you new board members that don't know who I am. I work in instructional tech department with Miss Adrienne Ellis, who I'm substituting for tonight. We work very closely with the media specialists. We're very proud to be able to give this award. I asked Dr. Brock to come help me because I got yelled at a lot for putting my fingerprints on the medal.
Not by me.
Not by her. And I'm the nerd that has my speech written down, so I won't forget it. April is National School Library Month, a time to recognize the incredible role libraries and librarians play in shaping young minds. It's especially fitting tonight that we get to celebrate a first for our district, our very first Library Media Specialist of the Year. This year's honoree has turned her elementary library into something very special, a place where stories leap off shelves, a place where students are encouraged to wonder, explore, and fall in love with learning. Her passion for teaching is evident in everything she does, from guiding young readers to supporting her fellow educators. She creates an environment where every child feels welcome, inspired, and capable of greatness. She doesn't just hand out books. She builds relationships, fosters curiosity, and helps kids see themselves as learners and leaders. And tonight, we're proud to honor her for that. Congratulations to our 2025 Library Media Specialist of the Year, Allison Harrison. When we came to give her the award, we made sure all the media specialists were on our PLC.
I got ambushed.
And she read, like it was just very natural. Like, we were very happy that she was surprised. Although she should have been, she deserved it. So, congratulations. Did you get us? I was gonna say, I'm hiding behind uniform.
Yeah, yours was much better than mine this morning.
It's okay. I wrote it down. I had to make sure. No, you gotta come. Oh, we match. We're both wearing green.
All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more.
You're crazy one.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Much better. Thank you.
Congratulations. I know we've got a lot of visitors here. Thank you guys for coming and supporting your friends, your family, your students, teachers, as it may be. If you would like, we're going to take a couple minutes to kind of break. If you want to take some pictures over here with family or do something outside, that's awesome. If you want to hang out to the rest of the meeting, we're going to talk budget and purchase orders in just a minute, and field trips. If you want to, you're welcome to stay for that. But if you've got some other things you need to get to, we'll take a couple minute break and you guys can do that as well. So thank y'all for coming tonight.
The agenda is superintendent report, or do we have any football? Okay. Next on the agenda, the superintendent report.
All right, and first up on that, hold on, let me get my stuff on part and move that away. Is we have our board vision resolution, which is in your packet back there, and we just have to adopt that as part of the GSBA things. There it is. It is right before the CTAE budget, right after the consent. Right before the CTAE page, right before. So that is our vision mission. Of course, that was in your package to look over. And we just have to adopt that. So we'll vote on that one. Make sure you got
All right, I need a motion that we adopt the board vision resolution.
So moved.
Second. Tony, all in favor? It's approved.
All right. Next up is our CTAE FY26 budget. Tara, you're on.
Here, this is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. But y'all just saw the wonderful things we're doing, you know, so it is. This has just been the same budget though. It's just, we've done the same amount for the last 20 years. From my understanding, we haven't asked for more, and y'all know I'll use even Courtney, how wonderful culinary is. Y'all know the cost of food, y'all have to go to the grocery store, so you can only imagine the cost just to run culinary alone for the year. So we have 10 clusters, 20 pathways. I have 19 teachers at the high schools. I have 5 at the middle schools. And so it's just asking to run the CTAE department across the district. So that's the expensive. Dr. Wright talked a little bit about the QBE. You can mention gifted funding. CTAE equals a little bit more funding too. For classes, the weight. And so if you look at the budget, I think it was 144. That's the operational amount right now. If you're looking, I think you have this, is that QBE. That's, and this is all anticipated. Kind of like he was telling you, we're taking a guess. So right now, as long as there's no reductions, it's 144 that we're pulling in for operations. And so what we're asking for, this isn't in addition to the general, it's just pulling out the local funds. So is 125, and then it's 269 each year to run, is what we get each year to run out of the funds. Local funds.
Do y'all get more?
We do, what we get are grants. So every year I have to apply for grants, different grants, and so they're on the next page. And again, this is estimated. This is kind of pulling, this is about the average we got this year. I don't know yet. My grants are due May 2nd of this year, and then it'll slowly start coming in how much we will earn. So Perkins is a big one. Of course, with Perkins, there is a local match. So we do, we have to show that. And that's why I have to pursue a CTA budget. So, but these are the grants that we get. Some of them, of course, if you look, I kind of explained what each one does. And how you can use it, like any grant, I'm kind of held to how we spend that money. That's not a day-to-day operation. So that's why we do need a local match, and we have to show support. And of course, just running our CTA departments a lot. So, but yes, we just have to show a local support of the CTA department to get some of these grants. Do you have any questions?
Is there any new CTA classes going to be added at either one of the high schools?
No, not right now. He talked about enrollment. I would love to. I said we have 10 clusters. Georgia offers 17 clusters. So we're 10 out of 17, I think is pretty good for our size. We don't have a CTAE Career Academy. A lot of districts have that. Whitfield does, where they can offer a little bit more. So we don't have that. So for our size, I'm happy with our 10. Clusters, and then within those clusters, we do have various pathways that each teacher gets to offer. So but not adding because our enrollment's down. If, once we add, you know, I would love to add some. There's some I have for future I would love to add, but, you know, it's gonna be a matter of enrollment going up. And then, of course, we'd have to look at the cost. You can only imagine lab equipment and having to start up a lab for CTA classes would be a lot. So it'd be a lot of future conversations. Of course, I would love, since I have enrollment too, enrollment to go up, FTE to go up, funding to go up, and then CTA could go up as well. So, but right now with enrollment.
I know with the district, you have to go to school in your own district, but there's CTA offerings at one school that's not offered at the other. Is there any talk on having that open up to all students? Because there may be a student at Murray that wants to be in culinary, that doesn't get to
Yes,
explore that
and vice
opportunity.
versa, you know, Murray has welding and
Welding,
construction,
great, yes, great,
you know,
great
for the
example.
boys. So right now, in my mind, I mean, you know, we have the district and kind of stipulations. In my mind, it would be a matter of transportation.
Yeah.
I don't think that's kind of the holding point. And scheduling. Even though the high schools are running about the same schedule, it's not a travel issue. It's not far, but, you know, scheduling buses, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna run buses during the day? So that would be a conversation. In my mind, I don't see how it could work, but I would love to offer it to where kids, I mean, I would love to have a career academy, you know, that would be amazing, but that's not on the table. You know, that's something.
I just
that we
feel like it's a
can't do.
disadvantage to some kids that want to explore other options that, I mean.
And what we might could do is even have that added, I mean, I just know I'm thinking this off the top of my head with Dr. Wright though, but have that, if somebody wants to switch schools, have that in the conversation. Like if someone is wanting to really
Provide
like,
the transportation.
welding. Say if they want, you know, hey, I have a goal to come out and go ahead and get started with my welding certification. Well, that might be a conversation to where they could come to Dr. Wright, they could come to myself,
Have
come to
approval,
the.
yes.
Yes, to get approval.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be something we could look at doing. Of course, it would be then, of course, provide your own transportation because of
Yes.
buses.
And she's talking about like moving schools completely.
That would be, yes, I'm talking about
midday.
moving schools
not midday.
completely.
Yeah, no.
Yes, not midday, but completely, like if
Just
they.
to have a process, because I feel
Yes.
like it's a disadvantage to some kids that maybe want to explore other options.
No, well,
And you might can explain how that happened, because like people ask that question, like, well, why does one school have this and one school have that? And that was something that happened over time due to student interest. and
Well,
some
student
different
interest
things.
and then even with the building facilities. You know, right now, and honestly, like, me.
And I get that, I
Yes,
definitely
I
get
get it,
that, but when you have people that are paying taxes to the overall school system, they want their kid to be able to, you know, explore options that the county offers.
Well, they do, and honestly, all of us as educators want students to be
Yeah.
able to
No,
have
yeah,
that
yes,
option
yes.
as
No, I
well.
understand that,
We
but
do.
what does that look like?
We do, but that is something that we haven't really discussed. I know a few years ago, there was talk, I was a counselor though at the time, of transporting in midday, but that was just logistically, we just could not do it.
Right.
The buses, we couldn't, we gonna trust a 17-year-old
No,
to drive,
no,
you know?
yeah, no.
So that was it kind of died really quickly. So that
But maybe it's a
conversation did-
process
but
like you
maybe-
talked about,
yes,
like
I
going
could
and
get
get
with Dr.
approval,
Wright,
yeah.
you know, Dr. Winkler, Miss
Provide your
Morrow,
own
you know, and kind of come up with
transportation,
a plan if a kid wanted to completely change schools out of district because of a CTA
Yes.
pathway. Maybe we could come up with a plan for that.
I think at North Murray, they have an ag mechanics class that does some welding things
They
there.
do.
Component of it.
They do. Mhm.
So it's not a full welding.
It's not, but it's ag mechanics and they do a lot of this, they do a lot of the welding.
Yes,
too.
so those are some things we've discussed, kind of tossed around ideas, even with the Career Academy. You know, that was originally, intended
Yes.
for Northwest
Yes.
Georgia.
For
It wasn't
everybody,
just
yeah.
Whitfield County. But there you get into logistics, transportation, funding, as you start kind of going. So there's a lot of tentacles in those things. But we've lightly talked about it, it's just a matter of trying to figure out the best way to see if it's a possibility
Right.
Yeah.
to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because
And then in
I-
the future, you know, hopefully we can even some things out
Right.
with facilities changing and things like that.
Yeah, and we do have a plan, and that's what I talked to Chris about, you know, in the future, you know, the CTA department at Murray is on the plan. several years maybe from now, before they get there for the remodel. And so that might be something, hopefully, if enrollment goes up, we might be able to add something. Cosmetology is a big interest
Yes.
that Murray kids would like.
Absolutely.
And so.
I could see culinary being taken.
Yeah, culinary has been one too. So, those are things we would love to even it out, but it's just right now not feasible. So we like that we do I like that there are some differences, only because I feel like maybe it does give kids more of an opportunity instead of it being exactly the same. But I know what you're saying.
But you don't have an option though.
No.
I know it
And
gives
that's
them
why we
opportunity,
need-
but they don't have an option.
Yes, and that's why, like, we could have a discussion
Yeah.
moving forward about a way, if a kid wants to completely change pathway, and they have transportation. The transportation's hard though, because we have a lot of amazing kids who can't help the transportation and they need the bus. So, that could be something that we could look at. I'm open to all suggestions.
Well, thank you, Ms. Robinette, and so we'll need you guys, we'll need them to approve that review.
I need a motion that we approve the CTE budget for FY '26.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, speaking of budgets, here comes Dr. Smith to talk about some SPOS and financial statements.
Right, we'll be working on budget next meeting, that will be the big one.
2 o'clock.
So come prepared.
Mhm.
3 o'clock.
2 o'clock. This is actually looking at SPOS. We're gonna start off talking about our SPOS like we always do. So these are your SPOS dollars as of March. So you can see where, I think all of them are on there for you to see except the 22 one. But March of 22 is around 486,000. Then March of '23, it was around 439,000. It continued to be in that same ballpark. In March of '24, it was around 474,000. And what happened in March of '25? That we jumped up to 639,000.
Selling cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes. Yes.
That's great.
I think so. You're talking about the power?
Yeah.
Yes, I would think that.
Because of.
You're talking about the cold snap.
It wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
They had that one.
And have you seen your power bill?
Cold snap, yeah.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, that was an increase of 164,000 over the previous year in the same time period. So we've collected 18.8 million of the 25.5 million splost. Still anticipating that it might end around March of '26. If things slow down, that will be okay. Then we'll just continue to collect on this splost further into maybe April, May, and June of '26. So, any questions on the splost deposits? Now we're going to go backwards a little bit. So when we talk about the financials, we're actually looking, first snapshot is of the actuals as of the end of February. It is closed, we've closed the month of February. So we had revenues of around 46 million. We've collected around 60% of our budget revenues. The next page shows you expenditures as of the end of February. These are just actuals, don't have any accruals in there, so our expenditures were around 3 million, around 56% of that budget. So expenditures came in less than revenues, which produced a surplus for us of around 2.5 million compared to the 1.5 that we anticipate for the year end. So those are your actuals. Okay. Next, you're going to look at the same set of financials, except now we've added into there the accruals. And remember, I just talk about it each time. Accruals are the QBE that we're going to receive for July and August are included in our revenue, and then the expense of the July and August payroll is included in expenditures. So that's the only difference between the actuals and accruals, okay? So the first thing we look at there is just the balance sheet for February, and it just gives you a snapshot of how the how the balance sheet looked in '24, we had around 21 million of assets and liabilities. In '25, same time period, we had around 18.7. That's not that huge of a concern, okay? So it's running, trending just pretty normal for this time of year. The next thing that we look at is the revenues that include those accruals. It has that QBE accrual in there. So if we took the actual and we add the accrual to it, we're gonna have around 53 million in revenues, which is around 70% of the budget. Compared to that this time last year, it was around 52 million, but of that budget percentage, it was around 71%. So revenues are coming in very much like they did last year. So we know that that's a good sign. Next page is the expenditure with the accrual. So all this does is it takes the July and August payroll, it sprinkles it throughout the budget and to the departments that it belongs to, and it expenses it as though we've actually paid it. So if we were looking at the actual plus that expense of the payroll, we would be around 52 million in expenses, which is 67% compared to 52 million last year in expenses, which for that budget, it was a 70% increase, 70% of that budget. So we spent about 67% of our budget, if we include that, for this time period, and which is right on track if we're 6 months of school in. So we should be around between 60 to 70% of expenditures, okay? So the last page just shows you what happens to those actuals after the accruals are added to them and those expenses come out. It takes that surplus that we just talked about, it brings it down to 1.3 million, which is still better than the negative 543,000 that we had this time last year. And you'll start seeing now from this point forward, you're gonna start seeing this side of those, the 24 columns, you're gonna start seeing probably that, that negative increase, because if you'll remember, this is when CARES ended and we started bringing over those expenses into the general budget. So you're gonna see that gap being a little bit bigger on the 24 side, because you're gonna start seeing those expenditures that came in from last year that are not in this year's budget. Where they're included in the budget, they're not in addition to the budget. Does that make sense? Okay. So, the last page that I put in there is just a snapshot. I told you I would start doing that. These are the actuals of the day that Danielle's sending you the packet. So we've talked about March SPLOST, then we've talked about February financials. Now we're looking at April. This is the snapshot as of April 7th. These are actual expenses that do not have accruals in, okay? So we have revenue of 51 million. We have expenses of 49 million. So we have about a 1.9 surplus as of that day for actual expenses and actual revenues that have no accruals in them, okay? So that's why that number is different than some of the other numbers you're looking at. All right? We're jumping all over the place, but that is the nature of budget. It is a snapshot of the time that I'm standing up here. And if I went and pulled it right now, it'd be different than these numbers. Okay? Because things have come in and things have gone out since I've even received the packet.
That's a quick question. On some of these pages, you have stuff in yellow.
Those are just that's just the color that was on there.
It's just, it's just a way to separate visually.
That's why I didn't have.
Yeah, it has no significance.
Okay, I thought it meant something.
No.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Next, we're gonna look at the local government investment pool. This is the pool that we set aside back in November of 2020 to put any extra excess cash that we have. over into the investment pool so that we can grab some more interest. For the month of March, it's pretty much, I've left the money that's in there alone. I can tell you, Tim and I were talking about that this is basically your July and August payroll sitting over here earning interest. Okay, so that is basically that excess cash. It's not cash that we have that we can spend. It's set aside over there for those, that accrual of those, that payroll. When we have it this summer, we'll pull this money out and use it. But right now, we earned $33,397.11 in interest on it. So we've collected, since school started, or July 1, we've collected $170,000 in interest, and a total since we started of $544,000 in interest. So it'll continue to sit there and just gain more interest up until we need it.
So you're saying which amount is what will be the salary for July and August? 170?
The 7 million.
The 7 million.
Where's 7? Okay, okay.
It'll take all that money
Okay.
to do that summer payroll.
Thank you.
Okay? Any questions on that? Lastly, we only have one PO, which is one of the reasons why we're running that surplus, because we're not spending. So we have one PO, and it's for school nutrition department, so it comes out of the school nutrition budget. It's part of your general fund budget. It is for a dishwasher for North Murray High School. Yes, that's correct.
Yes, ma'am.
$56,145.53. So.
Does it pick the dishes up for you? What does it do?
Well, it's not just the dishwasher.
Because it's all I need to buy dishwasher and the installation.
Yes, and a 4-compartment sink.
Yeah, puts it up and everything.
And a 4-compartment.
So that is the only purchase order we have to present tonight.
All right, I need a motion that we approve the financial statement as presented.
So moved.
Second. Thunder, I think it's first. All in favor? It is approved. I need a motion that we approve the purchase order.
So moved.
Ellie. Second. Brenda. All in favor? It is approved. Student achievement. All right.
First up is middle school ELA curriculum. Dr. Locke was planning to present tonight, but she has a severe case of bronchitis/pneumonia. So I talked with her briefly this afternoon, and she shared some information with me. So our curriculum, last year we took care of our elementary curriculum. It had sunsetted out. We started with our new one because the state had passed some things. We had to choose certain curriculum items last year, so we went forward with that. We talked about doing the middle school last year as well. We held up on it because we had another year left of our middle school curriculum that we currently had. So we waited until this year. Dr. Locke has spent a lot of time this year out talking to our middle school, including the 6th grade, as she talked to them about different curriculum options. One is remaining with what we had been using, which was Savas My Perspectives. Another was moving on to HMH, which is what they had wanted to do last year that we held up on. And another option was bundling some different little programs here and there to kind of create your own curriculum by piecemealing some stuff together. The overwhelming consensus was that they wanted to have one product, one thing to work off of. It was simpler for the teachers. HMH was the choice that they liked. HMH is also what is used at the high school. So there is for a couple of classes up there where we have adopted curriculum a few years ago. So it does provide continuity of learning to the students. It also includes Writable, which Writable is an AI-driven writing program that offers feedback to the students when they type their things in response to literature, narrative stories, essays, argumentative essays, whatever they do. And it all is encompassed within the HMH platform. We are not having, last year when we came to you, we asked you to approve that adoption, and then we also asked to pay for it because we had to get things in advance with Benchmark to get ready for this year. We do not have to do that for HMH. They're gonna work with us and we can pay for it next fiscal year, so in July, we'll come and ask for a PO for that. HMH is going to be, including Rideable, was $296,000 for a 5-year subscription. It was actually more than that, but we went through, talked to the teachers about things they wanted within it, things they didn't want within it. We pulled out some things they said they just weren't going to use, so we didn't want to pay for stuff we're not going to use. So we'll pay half of that, I think, next year, and then we'll make 25% and 25% the following 2 years. So that's the recommendation that we're going to make for next year. So tonight, we would just ask you to approve, not a budget item, not a payment, not any of that, just the adoption process as per board policy. That we look through different things, we talk to the teachers, talk to the administrators, and this is the route they wanted to go.
How long will it be for?
It is a 5-year.
It's a 5-year.
Yes.
So we'll have it for 5 years.
Yes, starting next year. They had a 6-year price, but we felt like having it wasn't that much savings for the extra year, and it gives us an out a year earlier if we needed it. They have a 3-year price also, but there was much more savings doing 5-year and than there was doing the 6 versus the 3. So 5 years where we feel comfortable. And it's a program that we're familiar with using. They've already been using Rideable. We've been paying for it separately. And so it is something that we're also using in our elementary grades as well. We paid for that to use there. So these students will have had experience with that Rideable program from 3rd grade all the way up through high school now, once we have this in place. So the teachers are excited about it. And
Is
they're
it used
excited
other
about it.
places? Does other school systems use it?
Yes, HMH is a widely used program. HMH, this is into literature, HMH into reading. I think it was into reading that we looked at last year on the elementary. We're actually going to use one of their products next year, the Amira product in elementary school. That was the #1 screener that Georgia chose, and that we're getting some state funding to do that. So it's something we're familiar with. It's a good product.
So with 5 years, that'll give us a good range of data to go back and look at health growth.
Yes.
For our students.
And with this one, because we're looking at some different things with literacy, and we talked last month about, iReady and reading, where we've been doing reading and paying for that. Next year, Amira is going to take the place of that in K-5, and we can use some HMH diagnostic tools within this program and not have to come back and get iReady for reading. So next year, when we talk about reading data, it's not going to be iReady data. It'll be Amira, HMH, and it'll be a diagnostic tool within HMH there. We hate to not be able to have the continuity of it, but we also feel like this is a better indicator of what we need going forward and a better use of our funds.
And it'll still be in that same price, right?
Yeah, it's built in within this price, yes. Whereas iReady was a completely different price. It was about $150,000 extra.
On top of
On top of it,
whatever
yeah.
curriculum was there.
Yes.
You want to go ahead with that? Yeah. Okay. And I need a motion that we adopt the middle school ELA curriculum.
So moved.
Second.
Sheila, all in favor? It is approved.
All right, next up is our field trips. There's a couple field trips in there. One of them has to do with one of our CPAE pathways that we're working on converting. It's a civics pathway, and these students and teachers are going to get the opportunity to go to a couple of important places in our country and check out some conferences called Be the People, and it's being paid for by a grant that goes with this pathway, so we're not having to pay for anything. So they're going to go to Philadelphia, New York, Washington over the summer to check out some things there.
I have a question for
Yes.
that. It says they're leaving from Cartersville. Is this like a whole group from our area that's going?
Yes.
Like a whole?
It's statewide.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
kids from
so-
all over the state that will go and attend this conference. It's a leadership conference for kids.
It just didn't say that, and I thought, why are we going to Cartersville to catch a bus to go north?
Yeah.
Just didn't make real good sense.
Yeah, we do.
They
It's
could not
free.
just pick us up at 75.
Yeah. It's free. It's free. It's free.
We're gonna do whatever it's free.
Yeah, we'll be wherever.
The 8 kids are girls and boys,
Yes.
and the 2,
It's 2 males, but
Yeah.
there are a bunch of other schools going, and they're females that are, and Brooke, you and Peter, feel free to jump in here, but there's females from other schools that will be there. Like our girls will be with the female, with the female chaperones, and our
From
boys will
another
be with the,
school.
yeah, from other
Yeah.
schools.
They're all mixed up, and the
Yeah.
program specialists, we haven't, this pathway is new, so we'll be able to add it for next year or the next. Right now, we've just started with the base class, so, that'll be a pathway we can add and a cluster we can add. But the program specialist, each cluster has a program specialist from the State Department. The program specialist is one female and one male. So they'll be there. Several schools are participating, so we do. And right now, I think we're only sending two.
We're sending
I mean,
two
and we
males, yeah.
can, I mean, we can always see if there's a female that would like to go, but because there's so many going, I mean, we feel very confident, you know, that all our kids are.
Okay, so if it's, this is, we're starting this, but it doesn't sound like it's gonna take like a lot of money to do
No,
this. So why are we not doing it at both
Yes,
schools?
we are. It's both schools.
Okay,
So it's both
eight out
schools.
of the
It's
whole
Murray and North Murray, and for this pathway, it is social studies classes. So if you think about it's three social studies classes you have to complete. Two of them are graduation requirements. So why I said we haven't started is because we have not started the CTSO. And we have to have a CTSO for them to compete. So this is kind of our starting place for it. And that is what we want to do. I wanted to add, so we're in talks about adding the second course to the pathway. We've already got three. We just need to add two.
A whole new thing, we just have to add.
We just have to add a
We're
little.
already doing
This
it.
is a pathway that's not going to, there shouldn't be much of a cost like
Well,
the
that's
other
what I was
labs.
thinking.
Because it is three social studies classes is what it's gonna be. It can be a social studies teacher. They just have to, 5 out of their 6 classes have to be this pathway. So there's some steps in getting the CTSO for these competitions. So that's why we don't have the pathway just yet. So, but it's coming, so that'll be good that we'll now be able to say we have 11 out of the 17 clusters.
What's the pathway?
Public administration, government,
Okay, that's what.
government,
Okay.
yes. So, yeah.
And the other field trip is basketball camp. So, yeah.
Any questions on either of the field trips? I need a motion that we approve the field trips as presented.
Second.
Turner. Tony, all in favor? It is approved. Communication.
Nothing, communication engagement, catchment.
Quality workforce, I need a motion that we approve the personnel packet as amended, removing A3.
So moved.
Brenda,
Second.
Conrad, all in favor? It is approved.
He was, just because the people living, he was just holding himself off, he's related to somebody. So he's just holding himself out there.
Board discussion?
We got the code of ethics, you guys signed that, if I hadn't got that, and I know we'll get that from everybody before we leave, so. I'll be gone to the superintendent's conference this week, so if you need any text, I can call back, it shouldn't be something I'll get to the back, I just have to be able to call over. So, you know, just yell.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? It is.